Must give, you know, massive props. This one did not throw up once, and he ate all day long for 2.5 months, and I was very, very proud.
Did it taste okay, or was it just horrible?
A lot of it was very delicious. I think the only day it was tough was there's a scene when the bread does arrive later.
Yeah.
Right.
And my character's very upset about him not getting to try the bread, and so gorges on it.
I call it breadgate.
That was a long day. That was a long day of only bread.
I was genuinely concerned about him.
Hi, I'm Nick.
Hi, I'm Mark.
Hi, I'm Anya.
And this is Notes on a Scene.
You haven't touched your food.
There is no food.
We join this scene at a point in the story where the wheels have not yet come off. We're still, as an audience, trying to work out who these people are, what these relationships are, and specifically this table. They want to be seen in this exclusive club. They want to belong to this family, to this movement with this cult leader of Chef Slowik up there. There's so much this human need to belong on some level.
Are you not going to try it?
No.
No? No. This is great stuff.
So what I'm trying is, this is the breadless bread plate part of the menu. So we've all been delivered no bread, but just the condiments and sauces that would come with them. I ate quite a lot of oil. That was what I had in my little spoon right there. I was just licking oil throughout the day.
How did it taste?
Oily. Delicious. I don't know, I remember, after, you know when you have too much oil in your mouth after a while, it starts to feel a bit funny in there?
Yeah.
I started to have that feeling occasionally.
I'm going to stop it just to tell you how long we spent trying to get the sound effect right for the glass smashing. You know the obvious, if something really scary happens, then you do the strings. So we did want to create an unease whenever we could. With that, I think it took us about 2 weeks to get the sound effect right of going back and forth just for a glass smash. But if you hear it in a big cinema speaker, it's really cool.
It was worth it, but also if you listen to this one, so like I did a little bit of a squeal. I did that maybe like 79 times in ADR.
Really?
To get the right level of squeal.
Really?
Yeah. So, yeah, 2 weeks of a glass smash and a
Yes,
moment.
For one little moment.
For one little moment.
That was a total accident.
We were in the edit with Chris Tellefson. I wanted to be kind of over Chef's shoulder when he comes down to and experience that fear of like when the head teacher is coming over to your table. But it was all lasting a bit too long, so I wanted someone to foreshorten it, but I didn't want it to interrupt the moment. And then Chris found this little look from Paul. If you just keep looking at stuff I didn't even notice on the monitor on the time, you just find little nuggets of gold that everybody was given all the time. And Paul just gave me this lovely little kind of teacher's pet look.
Perfect.
That, you know, you're in trouble with the teacher, and I just loved it.
And it's interesting also because the way that this restaurant is set up, we the diners are in our own little worlds at each table, but we are all out there on a stage.
Yep.
And then you've got Chef Slowik, wherever he walks, all heads turn, and he is presenting from his own stage. So it really is all performances within performances within pretension. I remember saying to Mark, I feel like I need to have my back to Chef Slowik because that's the way that I feel about it, and he should be a presence behind me, and it's a choice. The back problems I now have from twisting into this S shape so I could look at Rafe, because also when Chef Slowik speaks, it's a monologue, so I just hold this position and be like, I'm fine. I still maintain it was a good choice.
It was a fantastic choice. Could have just shuffled that chair around a bit.
I know, I know.
I'm so sorry.
You haven't touched your food.
There is no food. I love Margot very, very much because she is the character that I've played that's the most comfortable in their skin. I've never been a particularly passive-aggressive person, and I deeply enjoyed being like passive-aggressive. And so on this, I'm just gonna write sass level 1,000. I'm just going to keep writing those. Yeah, let's go.
You can feel how much you're enjoying it, and the character is enjoying the moment.
There is no food.
Well, no, this is food.
So, lots more food to come. Don't want to fill up.
That would not be possible. I've precisely designed the portions to account for that, so...
I remember a conversation that you and I had where you said Margot is an enigma that we as the audience are trying to figure out.
Yeah.
And that kind of led me down a path of, okay, I need to figure out who this individual is at her core. And it also made me feel a lot calmer, because I think I initially went in wanting to know like exactly who she was in every single moment, and then I was like, oh, of course, it is a performance within a performance, and allowing that curtain to rise and fall was really helpful and fun. As the story reveals itself, you kind of realise that they're not what they appear to be at all, so it was very fun to watch that veil drop occasionally and then go straight back up so quickly. It was like, it was incredible.
You won't fill up. Please eat. The menu only makes sense if you eat.
But you told us not to eat.
That is not what I meant, madam.
These two characters who obviously, from all intents and purposes, take an instant loathing to one another. He wants this character to eat, you don't want him to tell you what to do. And yet, eye contact right to you.
Yeah.
And actually there's an enjoyment of the connection. There's already a dance going on between. The central conversation had to be this conflict stroke connection between this character, Margot, this force of light, and this character who sees nothing but darkness, because I knew that actually you up against Rafe would be absolutely fascinating, would feel like a really equal, combative, and yet had this underlying warmth and connection because of that shared empathy that both of you have. You can both see that foundation, I think, really works, and we build out to those other relationships from that place.
That is not what I meant, madam. You know it.
Well, thank you for your concern, but I am perfectly capable of deciding when I eat and what. There's a joint empathy because they both work in the service industry. I think both of us enjoy our scenes together, but I think the characters weirdly enjoy discourse because there's a massive part of Chef, I think, that wants to be told no.
Yeah.
Or that wants somebody that's not just, you know, following everything that he says all the time, and potentially she's been holding her tongue for a little bit, and so having somebody to just immediately be able to be like, no.
And an intellectual equal also, perhaps, that Chef also feels seen by this character. Something, he's such a commodity, such a badge of honor.
I am perfectly capable of deciding when I eat and what. Some wonderful acting from Nick Hoult right there.
Oh, no, that's me going, oh, I'm embarrassed. This isn't going well. Oh,
that's just like, and the dream
Little
has just shattered.
Oof, this is awkward. The fact that you're defying him, he's my hero. I just want everything to go smoothly.
Just say,
and him to
please,
take me
dear
in
God,
and be like
just
close
eat,
friends
just
forever.
drink the oil.
And the fact that you're not playing his game suddenly is, disastrous for
Having
me.
the worst date.
Can we go back to Rafe and just be like, how he manages to be so warm and intimidating and look straight through your soul all at the same time is incredible to watch.
His approach is also kind of monastic, you know, that he's this kind of monk in his art form. A good 90% of the performance is in that just meticulously everything is perfect and smooth. It's like I would love to have a little kind of bedtime story from Chef Slowik.
Yeah, he's at peace.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you. That little thank you that I gave just before he walked off. Thank you. I remember doing it and thinking, oh God, Ray Fiennes is going to think I'm an absolute brat because that was not scripted. And I was just like, oh God, oh God, oh God. But I'm glad you kept it in because that meant that it worked.
Oh, fantastic,
Yep, so thanks for that.
Christ, that was humiliating.
Humiliating?
Yeah.
Tyler, the guy's a prick. He goes and has a deep moment with Mummy.
I said, can you go up and kiss her? And we went for the take, and he went down to kiss her and then changed his mind and put his head on. And I think it was completely in the moment.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it. It was just a perfect Rafism of just a character who cannot show that much intimacy, a character who cannot show that much affect, and with all that luck, it just speaks so much of what we'll hear about, and that troubled past of the character is so eloquent in that one gesture. I just loved it as a choice.
Another excellent moment by Janet McTeer.
I know, right?
I mean, the side-eye action.
Yeah. Peter Deming's photography, I'll just give him a little shout ahead. Of course, we hadn't put these skies in at this point with the green screen, so he had to kind of imagine that from shots we shot earlier and light the foreground so that it would match when the green screen went. And the way that he will frame it here, this is beautiful foreground action, but there's also, you get this lovely insight into Nick's humiliation upstage, so it makes the frame so rich.
Something that Mark does was he wanted us all on stage essentially the whole time and improvising because you never knew when you were going to be caught on camera, which was such a fascinating way of working. But the other wonderful thing, which I've not experienced in any other film, is usually if it's someone else's close-up, you'll go and rest in your trailer. we never left this set. We were constantly on set, improvising or watching everybody else around us. And it was such a supportive environment.
I got such great stuff out of that in the edit of those extra layers from what I was finding from you. There's one point where the camera is primarily over with Amy and John Leguizamo's characters, and yet I've got the two of you in the background, and I'm just seeing this dynamic of the two of you having the most lovely date, and just connected. It's one of those things where if you just rack the focus and see that going, you think, oh, what a lovely young couple they are.
Well, I mean, so we committed to the improv like pretty hardcore the first couple of days, and then there was definitely a certain point where like, Nick, take it away.
Well, ultimately we were like, we couldn't continue to improvise that deeply. Then we just started kind of getting to know each other through improv stories about the characters that would be partially true, but then also partially false.
So you'd yell cut, and then we'd say, okay, I think this bit was true, I think this bit was a lie, I think this bit was fabricated, I think whatever, and we got to know each other.
You were playing balderdash on camera.
Kind of,
Eventually, there was one day when I remember telling you a story about being force-fed like cheese or an onion as punishment as a child, and this is why I don't like cheese anymore because it gave me nightmares, but I can eat an onion like an apple, and just random things. You'd be like, what is going on in your life?
We know each other to a very bizarre degree.
Is that true or false?
That's false, yeah.
That's false, yeah.
Don't worry, I'm not like revealing my
inner trauma.
Counting in 3, my friends. Yes,
chef! All the actors that played all the chefs were incredible in their ability to kind of be so intimidating, kind of soldiers of chef.
You had them do training. It was all choreographed faultlessly.
Yeah, we had this 1-week boot camp with, Lauren Candela, our second AD, and John Ben Hayes, our local brilliant chef from Savannah, and also overseen by Dominique Cran, of course, 3 Michelin starred, literally the only woman in America still to have 3 Michelin stars. Getting that kind of backup in the kitchen was a massive thing for me to make sure we had that authenticity. Literally everything they're doing is completely correct for whatever course is being prepared.
Interestingly, I don't think any of us necessarily describe ourselves as foodies, but I do remember we have really hard jobs. We have to watch Chef's Table and go to nice restaurants as research. But I remember when Dominique came on set, all of us were really starstruck because we'd been obsessed. We're like,
she is a rock star as well.
Don't mess it up, don't mess it up. Something that I thought was really interesting about how we're such ritualistic creatures, and that was something that you talked about a lot at the very beginning, where it's like, we do not switch tables. Even when we leave, when something shocking happens, we stay in our position because that's our only grasp of familiarity, or it makes us feel safe.
There were so many psychological studies on that, where when things become threatening in this restaurant, there's so many studies backing it up that given the choice of, can you believe that something is really bad could be happening here, or do you just want to pretend it's all all a show? 9 out of 10 people will just go, it's a show, and choose to believe that as a rather than face up to an uncomfortable truth.
I think we get saved in these movies when they get dark because Mark hired very kind, wonderful people. So it's quite shocking when staff or the chefs will look so serious and then they yell cut, and it's like, so how's your book? Like, how are you doing today? Are you having a great time? And I'm like, you're terrifying, but like, yes, okay, all good, all good.